Shady.
Yeah.
Is the Bills' Super Bowl window closing?
No, not at all. Josh Allen, I think Sean McDermott, you got Stephon Diggs, they still are there, and I think that they're a well-coached team, right? Josh Allen is still one of the top quarterbacks in this league, and to win Super Bowls, to even compete, to be a contender, you got to have a quarterback of that caliber.
Right.
I truly believe that. And there hasn't been, despite what we may think about talent or other teams, there's no better duo from a quarterback to wide receiver than these two in the league. The stats tell you that. Last 3 years has been phenomenal with these two. And I love that they got past their small little issue that, well, I can't say small, but got past their issue. Once you have a team that's like coached very well, anything is possible. I think they've been there, they've been close enough, they know what it takes. It's like one thing to keep going and keep going and keep getting close, and now you know what it takes to get there. I mean, yeah, I think the Bengals are a hell of a team. They've been beating them lately, but they're right there with them. The Chiefs have beat them. They're right there with them. So if I had to pick up teams to be contenders, the Buffalo Bills are still a top team to compete for a championship.
Yeah, I think their window is still open. I can't say that it's closing, particularly with Josh Allen and their well-coached team, and they're building on experience. But what I do think is interesting about the position that the Bills are in is that everything around them is changing. There was a time when that division was walk right to the top for the Bills. It's not so anymore.
It's not.
Now you got the Jets, you got Aaron Rodgers, they're adding Dalvin Cook, you got the Dolphins. We're going to talk about them in a second, but they're a super talented team, a well-coached team. So even within the division, it's a different world. And I think that every year we're seeing an influx of new, young quarterback talent. The quarterback position is so much more prepared coming out of college now. They're really dynamic. You can have a bunch of different styles of quarterback. And just the skill level around the league is rising. So it's harder now. You really have to have a complete team, and keeping a team together and taking advantage of moments is a part of winning a championship. So I don't think that their window is closing, but I do think they are in a position where they need to strike while they have the talent on the team that they have and take advantage of the youth and the situation that they're in.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's not necessarily that it's closing, but that if they are good enough with this group to get it done, they need to show that now. This is the year that they minimum AFC championship game. Right? Because, and I looked at their cap, and NFL cap situation is always tricky because you can restructure contracts and everything. But looking at theirs, what they're spending, what they've already committed money-wise to next season is greater than this season already. And the year after that is more than that. So it's the money that they've already committed over the next 2 years beyond this season is greater than what they're spending right now, which means that their wiggle room in terms of how they're going to get better is going to be limited. So it's really just a demonstration of how far away are they. If it's just a matter of we're close, we just need to break the things to break the right way, we need maybe the Chiefs or the Bengals to fall off a little bit, okay. But if it looks like it's more than that at this point, then they've got some revision to do, and I don't know how they're going to do it.
The question is the window closing? Not is it closed? Oh, yeah, it's closing. It was here. It's about right here now. The window is closing because they've been stagnant. And now you have Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. They're going to get along, but how much longer? When you lose Tremont Edmonds and you lose Leslie Frazier, and he's, I want to be a head coach. There's something going on that isn't right, because Leslie Frazier still wants to coach because he's going to mini camps and seeing what other coaches are doing and other teams are doing. And so good teams never really let a lot of things get out. But when Leslie Frazier stepped away, that showed me everything isn't what it should be in Buffalo because he has a good team there. Why would you leave a good team if you aspire to be a head coach when you're in a position where eventually you're going to get your chance, and he steps away from that? So that tells me right then, you remember the game they're down or they're beating the Chiefs 13 seconds? Leslie Frazier, defensive coordinator. I was told Leslie Frazier ain't called that last 13 seconds. That's what I was told.
Yeah,
and so just little things like that, it just makes you wonder, like, the Bills are a really good team. No, the window isn't closed, but it is closing because you got Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. You got Joe Burrow and the Bengals. You got Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. You got Trevor Lawrence and the Jags that can be coming. Justin Herbert and there's just so many good teams that are coming And the Bills have been so good, but haven't gotten over the hump. So absolutely, the window is closing. It isn't closed, but it's getting there.
I just think that when you're building on getting to that point, the experience that they have accumulated, like Shady said, that matters also. Like some of these teams that are coming up, they're not battle torn. They don't have the experience in those 13-second situations. They don't know that feeling. They don't know the feeling of going that far in the playoffs. Like that type of stuff matters. How do you take care of your body through a long playoff run? Yeah. All those little things. I think the Bills are right there. I think we can admit it a little bit, on the media side, that we've got a little Bills fatigue. We've been picking them every year. We've been saying Josh Allen's going to be the MVP every year, and they keep coming up a little short, and we get tired of looking like liars. So we're like, okay, maybe we're backing off them a little bit. I'm not ready to bail on them as real contenders yet, and I don't think that the window is closing, but things change quickly in this league. Just like that, you have a whole different roster the next year, and the pieces that you thought you were going to rely on for 3 or 4 years aren't there anymore. So I do think that they need to take advantage of it.
If there's some skepticism for me, it's the fact that when you go through those wars, when you go through those battles, does it bring you closer together, or does it pull you apart because of the frustration that you didn't go as far as you did?
I think it pulls you together.
Well, I would say normally that's the case, but based on what I've seen from the Bills during this offseason...
With 2 players.
They're frustrated. Okay, 2 really important players at the core of your team.
I would say 1 player. I would say 1 player.
Okay, nonetheless, it's like, did that experience bring us together and we all said, hey, let's figure this out? Or was you know what, we lost this because you didn't use me right?
But my question to you is, and you've been around sports for years, right? So we go through this issue, and we have this battle, and we're boys.
Yes.
And we divide. We're pissed off. But then we find a way to get back right.
Yes.
You don't think you learn from that? So when something else, hold on. So something else happens like that again, Josh may miss him or he drops a pass, whatever it is. We've been there before. You know what? That's me, dog. Let's get over this.
Yes.
So I think it helps him out. And also, when I look at this team, right, I can't see the Bills not in the playoffs. I'm sure, can y'all? Y'all can't see the...
They're going to be in the playoffs.
Okay, so as a player, the first thing we always talked about is either win your division or just get in to have a chance. So that's one check. They're going to have a chance to get in the playoffs because they're always in there. Right. 2 is when you talked about the salary, right? How it's maxed out, so you can't really put too much more players to it.
Right.
A lot of good teams that have that issue, like the Chiefs, they draft well.
Yeah.
So if I can't bring in these players, my quarterback's making so much money, I draft well where I can replace these guys with cheaper players.
Yeah.
And Sean McDermott, they draft well. A lot of them guys you see on there, they were drafted there. So I think the Chiefs window is it's a nice size, right? Like, I probably can't fit through it. You know what I'm saying? I gained some weight, but Joy can fit through that window. And it's still a nice, you know what I mean? It's still a nice window. So
thank you, Shane.
Come on now. The Bills are serious still. We can't.
Staying in the AFC East. Jalen Ramsey had surgery on his left knee today after suffering an injury in practice yesterday. The Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel said the beginning of the season is not likely for Ramsey, while reports say he could return in December.
December?
Ooh, December.
So, TJ, how much does Jalen Ramsey's injury hurt the Dolphins' chances?
December.
It hurts him.
Yeah, it does.
Jalen Ramsey, we talked about him yesterday. He let it be known. I'm the best defensive back in the league, no question. This is a full meniscus tear.
Yeah.
12 weeks minimum. So he'll probably start running or just doing exercise 11 weeks out, like full speed. Now we got to spend 2 to 3 weeks getting in shape. It's going to hurt him. No, when you lose good players like this, when you lose great players like this, it really affects your team. The leadership, I've been in these situations. Let's play this way. Let's calm this down. Let's do this. Like, how often is he going to be around on game day to be able to help? But when you up top, you can't really impart the wisdom that you can if you were on the field. But if anything that can save, I believe Vic Fangio is one of the best defensive coaches in the league.
Yes, he is.
And because he's a defensive coordinator, this is going to hurt. But they'll be able to get by because I think he's that great of a coach. But Jalen Ramsey is a great player. You can't lose great players and say, oh, this is not going to hurt us. It's going to hurt.
See, I think otherwise. I think it's going to hurt him a lot, like a lot. I think he's a really, really good coordinator. But, like, when you have Howard and you have Ramsey, you can do so much. And one thing about, I think, Jalen Ramsey that we don't give him credit for, yeah, he's a really good cover corner. but you could put him anywhere. He could blitz on running backs. I see him whip on running backs. I played against him. I can see him play in the slot. I see him play outside. Play your best defender, the big defender. Ramsey got nice size on him. Okay, I'll go on your fastest receiver. He could do so much. You utilize him so well in that defense. That's why I think it's going to hurt him, because now that offense is going to have to put up some more points.
Yeah.
So you take some of that pressure from that defense, you can put on that offense. And Tua, I think he's really good, but he's up and down with the injuries, and even some games where he's not playing his best, he puts his team in a bad situation to win. So this is going to hurt him. The best cornerbacks in the league.
It's your adopted team, right?
No, this is.
That's our boys.
That's
our
why
boys.
you had those earrings on.
Oh, yes. The Dolphins today.
That is a little dolphin, right?
Thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks. Like, because you can't get around losing a player of this caliber. I mean, I don't think that the season is over. I don't think that the defense is going to completely fall apart. I mean, you do still have Howard on the other side, so it's not like it's completely diminished. But you went into the season, you went into camp having plans of having a talent of that level available to you. And to your point, if you have a secondary like that, everything is easier for everyone. It's easier for your linemen. It's easier for the rest of the defense.
The rush.
It's easier for the rush.
Yep. Cover sacks.
Exactly.
Come on. Yeah.
Exactly. And then it makes it easier in your offense. Like, it's a position where if you have that kind of talent there, the whole team can play differently because that is taken care of. So that's not the case now. So the margin for error goes down tremendously.
Good point, yeah.
It is impactful. Hopefully he's back, get well quickly. Hopefully he's back for some part of the season. But it's just, there's no way to say that it's not going to impact the team. He's too good of a player for it not to.
Well, and it's not just the talent. To me, it's also the attitude that Jalen Ramsey brings to
That's another point. Good point. Yes.
Yeah.
Especially,
Yes. Good point,
especially
Slate.
with a young Miami Dolphins team in that division that's trying to stake out, hey, we're here, we're different, you got to have to take us seriously. You add a Jalen Ramsey, that brings a whole different vibe. And honestly, hearing that it's a full tear and they surgically repaired it, like James Wiseman of the Warriors had the same thing and they surgically repaired it. He was out for a year. Like the idea that I think December is really optimistic if Jalen is looking at, I want to play beyond this. You have that meniscus stitched up.
But in basketball, James Wiseman is young. They want to prolong the career.
Understand? Well, that's my point. That's my point. Like, it really.
That's a good point.
Does Jalen Does Jalen want to come back at any cost if it might compromise him going forward?
Well, I think it probably
sooner?
depends on what the season is looking
and where
like
they
also
are.
And where they are. But
fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
But a full tear is no joke. Like, the ACL, that was my first tip-off. When they said, oh, the ACL is still intact, I was like, man, he wrecked his knee. Like, if you're happy that the ACL wasn't torn, that means whatever other damage happened was some legitimate damage.
It's really unfortunate. Well, Sean Payton. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.